We normally say we want the Lord to bless us. We want God to show his mercy. I have seen many Christians who always demand God's mercy and God's blessings. They prayed and they prayed and prayed, seeking for God's blessing, and nothing happens. It is not easy to enter Papa's office without having the key to the office. Are you here with me? I've seen Christians who can pray in tongues, bind the devil, but still broke. There is a sure mercy that God has established in the life of believers, but it takes the very one who understands the mystery in the things of God to attain it. I've seen many people who comes with problems. Prophet, help me. Prophet, I am sick, my leg. Oh, even I fasted for 21 days. I am expecting a miracle, and nothing is happening. And I ask myself, why Christians can fast and we can pray, but God doesn't show mercy on us? I wish above all that thou mayest prosper, even as thy soul prospereth. So God's wish is for every believer to prosper. The will of God is to see his people prospering in all their endeavor. I want to tell you tonight, there is a solution to every problem. There is solution to every problem, every issue. There is solution. And the solution based on you. How you will be obedient to hear from the Lord. Most of us are very reluctant of hearing from God. Two guys in the Bible in Genesis, Abel and Cain, why they had a professional job, qualified job. One happens to be a farmer. I believe that these two guys, when they are going to sacrifice, they will sacrifice what they have. So for Cain to give crops, why God rejected the crops and took Abel's sacrifice? I ask myself, it is not because Cain brought crops. That's what others are defining. But because someone was able to hear from God what he wanted. By faith, Abel gave more excellent sacrifice. What is faith? Faith is by hearing by the word of God. In other words, what separated these offerings of these two guys, one heard what God wanted, and the other didn't even bother to pray about the sacrifice. And some of us are here with that mentality and that attitude. Because I went to that church and that prophet took my money, I will never give again, and I will never hear from any prophet. The reason why the enemy allowed that to happen is because the channel to your blessings is your giving. The channel to your success is not about how you can bind the devil. And I want to show you some secret about David. The Lord said, I will give you the sure mercies of David. David had a sure mercy. And I asked myself, how can someone who is a very wicked king can have sure mercy, approval mercy? You can't just be favored just because you are beautiful. The sure mercies of David that we are talking about here, it takes those who are givers to receive. Listen, there is secret to everything. I will open one secret, and if I open it and you become very obedient to it, 2018, 2019, David had sure mercy. It's a sure mercy. The guy can sing that even sin can salute him. But God said, I will give you the sure mercies of David. Even Jesus needed the sure mercies of David to resurrect from the dead. Jesus that we serve, we mention his name, needed the sure mercies of David. And even for him not to decay decay, he needed the sure mercies of David. It is not righteousness that brings you prosperity. There is certain principles that connect you. Anytime God does anything for you, he does it for good. Everything that God does, it is unique. You need the sure mercies of David. And that mercy is supersede judgment. You don't have to do anything to qualify for. And now let me show you what the sure mercies of David means. What is mercy? Exemption from judgment. Even though the case is against you, mercy plead. And in fact, the brother to mercy is favor. You are not here with me, church. And don't let me go there. The sister to favor is grace. And until you discover mercy, those two things will never ever work in your life. We need the source to get there, not only binding and loosing. And let me show you what David did in the book of Psalm 23. Let's all read it right now. I love it. Let's all read one go. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restored my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name. Look at the way he's saying here. Like God is the ultimate goal. He's my shepherd. He's my shelter. He says a lot of things. He says he is. Then he comes in and said, he restored my soul. The man says, my whole life belongs to you. Now continue. Yet though I walk through the valley of the shadows of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, and thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Say comfort. Okay, so now he tells you that he cannot live without God. In other words, I am not going outside of his covering, and I will always abide in his covering. Oh my goodness. I love this. Watch this. Watch this. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Why David said, God prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies? The reason is, God will not bring table without food. But this time, God brought the table without food. How can you set a table without food? In other words, you have the power because you've entrusted me to be your covering. There is no enchantment that can come against you. You can bind the devil yourself. Barbecue the devil. Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadows of the... When you are under the wings of God, who can come and take you from the wings of God? The covering of God is very, very, very powerful. And I wonder why Christians cannot benefit that. And let me show you the secret about why we don't benefit it. When I got that secret, I am free. Hey, I am free. I don't have to pray 20 hours, but I can see the blessing coming. The sure mercies of David is still at work. I said it's still at work. I said it's still at work. In your marriage, in your job, it's still at work. I tell you, it's still at work. Acts chapter 13 verse 34. The sure mercies of David. Let me show you what David did that he qualified for. You can't just qualify for anything. People think they can just qualify just because they are good. No, there is something here I want to show you. Let's all read together. And he said, and that he raised him from the dead, no more to return to corruption. He has what spoken thus, I will give you the sure mercies of David. So Jesus needed even David mercy to to resurrect from the dead. Why not Abraham mercy? Why not Isaac mercy? Why not all these generals mercy? But the guy who was a sinner mercy. You know, if you are thinking that righteousness will take you to heaven, before you get to know, you are in hell. Because your righteousness is filthy. And two, your righteousness is not what God entails to show his mercy or kindness on you. So God is not expecting you to be righteous before he blesses you. God is not going to be interested. David is in heaven. Do you know what qualified David to be in heaven? Jesus had keys. I give you the keys of the kingdom. Revelation. David had only master key. He said, I'll give you the key of David. You are not here, I think. In other words, I will not give you just 10 keys. Jesus had many keys. But David said, I'll give you the key of David. Meaning you can lock all the doors with one key. And a guy who had this title was a guy who slept with somebody's wife. And you know, that is a highly demonic sin. Prophet Nathan came there and said, there are 2 revelations I have on you. And even one prophet called Prophet God also came. The same issue. The guy can sin. That prophet had to come there. But Jesus needed the sheer mercies of David to resurrect. Without that mercy, Jesus would have been decayed in the tomb. It is not by might, neither by power. It is by his spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. And now let me show you what makes this contract became a very successful contract for David and God. This one is a divine supernatural capabilities. The Bible says the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and added no what? No sorrow. How can you be sorrowful whilst you have God who said that my riches doesn't bring any sorrow? And I'll show you these keys. When I show you this key, I went to Israel and the first thing I saw about David, why God gave him the sure mercy, was this. Should I go ahead? He was a man of consistency and persistence. From Bethlehem, where David's father was living, Father Jesse was living, a last born, taking care of flocks, many of them from Bethlehem to the field. This time when you sit in the bus from Bethlehem to where David was feeding the flock, it takes us 2 hours in the bus to go. A last born child had a bad job in his own father's house. Whilst the elders were going to schools, some were military officers, this last born was the one who was doing servant job in your own father's house. And I believe the mother was not there. Nobody's last born can be treated in that way. But David got to know the secret about what happened to Jesse and the mother. That's why he said, in sin did my mother conceive me. In other words, Jesse did not accept the child David. People don't have patience. When the miracle is about to hit us, we run away from it. When the miracle is about to hit us, we pack our bag from the church and we go to another church. Some of us come to church because of the girls and the men in the church. When they come, they just enter in, look around. Is there any tall man here? They are not here. Where are they gone now? Are they coming next week? I'll come back next week and see if they are here. Some also come because of business. Yes. So they are here. Is there any doctor in this house? If there is no doctor, please let me pack my bag and go. Do you know why the judgment will begin from the house of God? Because we are crazy. Why the judgment of God will never happens in the mosque or the voodoo's house, but in the house of God. Because the madness in the house of God. The guy was consistent. Very. Just imagine. In the morning, sheep don't know how to fast. And this is everyday routine, everyday job. Hey, sister, you cannot tap the heaven's blessing with just anointing oil. No. God will never ever give it to you. People don't want to be patient. And God looks into all these things before he can approve you. Even in America, for you to qualify for citizenship, they said don't travel outside America past 6 months. You will not qualify for it. Why? Consistency. Stability. Demonic hands has laid on us. People just stretch their head into anything just because they want the blessings of God. It doesn't come by laying of hands. It doesn't come by the powerful man of God. It comes by the word and by what you have in you. Listen, I have not finished. I've seen those who have traveled afar to meet certain men of God, but they cannot maximize the potentials. Do you know why? The secret is not away, it's within. I said it's within. David did one sin that me myself, when I go to heaven, I'll ask God, that God, why did you punish this man about what he did? Should I tell you? After Bathsheba case, one day David, you know, he married to Saul's daughter, right? And he divorced her based on the father's, trying to use the daughter to snare him. Then he divorced, and Saul's daughter went and married to a man, and they had children. One day Abner came to the king and said, King, can you accept me to be your servant? He said, Abner, I know you where you're coming from. For me to accept you, go bring her back to my house. Then I will accept you. And Abner went to the house of the man and picked the woman. Whilst the man was following Abner, why are you taking my wife too? And said, the king needed his wife. What sin have you committed? Past David's sin. That God is waiting to kill you. No. What sin have you committed that you deserve to be punished? No. There is a secret. Saul just did one mistake. I said Saul did only one what? Why David did all kinds of wicked things, but you, God, was showing mercy on David. The last thing David did, that me, when I go to heaven, I'm going to ask God. 2 Samuel chapter 24 verse 10 to 15 going. And David had condemned what? Him after he had numbered the people. So David said to the Lord, I have what? Sinned greatly. Every day this man confess. But now I pray, oh Lord, take away iniquity. I offer you 3 things. Choose one of them for yourself, that I may do it to you. Hold on here. Shall 7 years of famine comes to you in your land? Number 1. Number 2. Or shall you flee what? 3 months before your enemies? He said what? Shall what? There be 3 days plague in your land. Now consider and see what answer I should take back to him who sent me. Jesus. Prophet said, consider. Choose one. And now listen to what David would say. And David said, I am in great distress. Please let us fall under the hands of the Lord for his mercy. So the Lord sent the 3rd one upon Israel from the morning till appointed time, from Dan to Beersheba. 70,000 men of the people died. Where was David? Was this thing a punishment for the one who sinned? Why would you kill people and leave me alone? I am the orienter of the sin. A guy who did all kinds of wicked stuff. God will kill 70,000 people and leave him to live. why those people died on his behalf. Who can give me the answer? Why God would spare the life of David and kill 70,000 people just to show him that I can kill you, just that you have a covenant with me. And that covenant, until you fulfill it, you won't die. What that covenant? The covenant is, I want to build you a temple. I want to build you a temple. Listen, just imagine if you are the one paying this house rent. Who told you witches can come and kill you? You don't need any oil to make it. You are not here with me. If you are the one paying the instrumentalist, if you are the one making sure that the house of God is going on well, who is it? Witches and the wizard. Are you here with me? The Lord shall preserve the righteous. The righteous is the covenanted one who agrees to fulfill his part. That's the righteous man. Behold the perfect man. Behold the upright. For the end of that man is peace. The upright man is not about your deeds. It is about your consistency and your obedience in the things of God. So God said, I can show you death. You will see thousands of them dead, but you won't die, because one, you have a covenant with me to build me a house. Oh Jesus. Are you here with me? Building a house involves of money. You don't want to hear that. Build is not about. Bible says the people came with their gold and their silver to build God's house. Invest in the kingdom. If you don't invest in the kingdom of God and you think that every pastor that take money from you is a devil, let me tell you, this season, this dispensation, the people who are preaching the gospel of not paying tithe, they are demons. Because giving began from the time of Jesus, even from the time of creation. For God so loved the world that he gave. The word giving comes with love. Why do we put ring in the hands of a woman? You go and buy that price of ring and say, this is my token for you. It involves money. Your blessing is in giving. I don't like those who mama in giving, because you make the business too tough for the prophets. It's very important. If you love me, then show me your love. Not just buying me flour, only flour. I don't eat flour. Take me to the Gucci shop. And we think the poor is always the person who sit outside. People are suffering. You will see pastors with a nice suit. People are suffering of paying bills. You think the poor people is just out there. They are within. If you've not seen their coffers, if we tell the bills that we pay. Recently, Baltimore, a pastor just fell at the altar and died in the church of God. When we look at the reason why he died was high blood pressure. 7 months he hasn't paid bills. And they're about to evict him, and thousands of people. Recently, a great man of God I know, who had about 2,000, 3,000. He said, man of God, if I tell you the bill I pay, even only air condition costs about $12,000. To keep the place cool when it is summer, it cost me $12,000. He died. Just air condition, about $12,000. Not even the mortgage. Not the workers in the house. You think the poor is outside there. You carry money to Africa and bless those people with rice and chicken, whilst your pastor is suffering in the temple of God. In the book of 1 Samuel, chapter number 1, verse 8, going. So Anna arose after they had finished and drinking in Shiloh. Shiloh is where they sacrifice. So Anna was living in the house of God. Now Eli the priest was sitting in where? On the seat. And she was in the bitterness of what? And prayed to the Lord and wept in anguish. Continue. Now let me show you something. Anna was a woman seeking for a miracle, right? In those days, a woman don't have right to go to the temple. Women stayed home and the man goes to hear the voice of God. That is why the 5,000 men he's talking about, Jesus fed them. He did not mention women. In those days, women stayed home and the men are the ones. It took Jesus to break that law. So who are you to go to the temple where the Ark of the Covenant dwells? Whilst the high priest called Joshua, when he's going to the temple, they have to put a rope, a chain, and someone stand outside and they will check whether he's dying at where God is. But what made Anna to have access past the high priest, enter the throne, and began communicating? Do you know why? Because if you read it, Anna purposed in his heart something. Let's all read it. Then she said, he made what? A vow. And said, "Oh Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your maidservant and remember me and not forget your maidservant, but will give your maidservant," continue, "and it happens, and she continued prayed before the Lord, that Eli watched her mouth." Anna went and vowed and said to God that, "God, if you give me a child, I will give you the child back in 1 year time. Give me a child and let me give you a prophet." Because I read the book and I saw that you needed a prophet this dispensation. Give me a child and I'll give you. Meanwhile, Eli's children were wicked people. Bible says they will go into the temple and take God himself. They go and take the Ark of the Covenant to the warfield and fight. And God will kill all of them. And pick the women and sleep with them openly. Like what Absalom was doing. So a man who couldn't raise his children well don't have to raise a prophet. Someone who cannot raise his children ended up raising a child of 1 year in the temple for us to have a first prophet in that dispensation. We don't have to think where our money is going, where our vow is going. That's why I said people who preaches evil on social media, don't listen to them. You don't think about who is eating your money and who is spending your money. It is what you give to God. God will not come from heaven to take from you, but you give to man. What the man will do with your money, it is him and God. You have done your part. So Anna understood that even though Eli did not raise his children well, does not mean I cannot give my son and my vow to Eli. This church, the pastor is so wicked. I won't give. Who are you going to give to? Some send the money to Africa for a prophet in Africa to pray for them. Whilst your church, your storehouse is here. You have one child. God has honored you one child. And you said 1 year time, God, I'm bringing the child to you. And your rivals are in the house who have been insulting you, and you carry your child 1 year, a breastfeed child, just because of vow. Take your child to someone who couldn't raise his children well. And your rivals, what would they say? Arcana, what would they say? Why have you been giving, but you are always talking against it? Do you know why? Because the devil is really interested about your giving. You know that when you release your giving, you are releasing your heart and your love for God. Now you are rebuking them just because they have jet. They are not taking care of the orphan people and the homeless people and those who are in Nigeria. Who told you? Some are doing it quietly and they can't do all.